Hi guys, my name is Zin and this is Maybe Bonsai. Today I want to repot this clump, kind of a clump of crown of thorns. They're cuttings given by me from Nigel in the Bonsai Zone. I got it in the summer sometime and it has been doing fairly well. They were all cuttings and I think when I got it they weren't rooted, or they're very close to being rooted, maybe just rooted. I'm not exactly sure. But they were small before and much smaller than this. So I left it to grow and root and whatever, and they all been doing fine. Every single one of these is growing, so I'm sure they're all nicely stabilized now. So I want to take this out of the small container. I'm going to plant it as a forest in a larger container, and hopefully it'll be okay. So I'm going to prune this up a little bit and hopefully arrange it in a way that it looks good. So that's the plan for today. The container I have in my mind, or the pot in my mind, is this pot here, which is a Chinese pot. I wouldn't say it's high quality because there's a lot of defects with it. There's like paint in random places. There's kind of dents on the inside. That's kind of bad. But other than that, the pot is okay. Let me just put it down. Like, it sounds okay. It's probably okay to use it outside, but probably not too cold. I wouldn't trust it to freeze over the winter because the quality isn't just that high from the look of it. But I think it'll do for this planting. So that's how big it is. I'm going to kind of spread out these trees a bit so they're not clumped in this closest vicinity. So I think it'll be okay once I put it in the pot. So let's get started with that. So first I'm going to, remove the soil and see what's going on with the roots. And then hopefully everything is good and we can put it into the pot. So first things first, I'm going to remove the soil, or at least try to. It's actually quite loose because this hasn't been in here that long. But I don't want this to be in here anymore. When I want to kind of plant it so I don't have to do it later. Plus, it's kind of hard to water already. The water doesn't drain as fast. It kind of pools at the top. And plus, I'm getting only growth on the top of the plants, of the trees, and not really anything on the bottom. The leaves are kind of dropping at the bottom. I want to, give it more space so more lights can get in, and hopefully I don't have that symptoms anymore. But I think for crown of thorns, regularly they do that anyway, once the top gets high. There are a lot of thorns on these guys. So if you have this, and I'll have to be very careful not to prick myself on the needles. So this soil is Nigel Saunders Special with 50 perlite, 50 safety zorb, which is what's the word I'm looking for? Turfus. Okay, so for this one at least, there's 2 layers of roots, which I'm sure I'm gonna get rid of 1 layer. Okay, so I'm just trying to separate the plants. Oh, it's a little bit easier grabbing the bottom because there isn't that many thorns. But overall, it's still kind of hard to work with. This one looks like it's got nice roots, but again, on 2 levels. There's actually 1 level down here, 2 planes, but I think I'm gonna get rid of that because it's quite low and the majority of the roots is at the top. All right, so let's take a look at what we have. So there's 1 here with 4 branches kind of coming from 1 cutting. This one has 2 main branches and then divided into another 2 branches. Then we have a really tall one, 2 branches. I really thought these were smaller, but I guess they're buried quite deep. So once I took them out, they're actually quite big. They're quite tall, much taller than I thought they would be. I think this one is the biggest one. Yes, the biggest one. And then we have another one here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total. A good number to work with. So how would I arrange these once I put them in? Well, so with 5, I'm going to put the tallest one probably on the either on this side or that side, so it's not a perfect symmetric triangle. And then, you know what, this is probably the way I would arrange it, just something like that. And I might prune some of these once I get them into the pot. So yeah, I think that's fine. I'm not sure what to do with some of these roots yet, because they're it's kind of a mess. Some of it has 2 levels, multiple planes. I'll have to figure that out, but most likely, actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. I'm going to get my pruners and then I'll get rid of some of these extra roots. So this is okay because everything is at the bottom, but the problem like this, you know, this is like halfway up. These can go, these high roots, they can all be taken off. And with this crown of thorns, I'm not really worried about roots not growing or taking off too much, because these guys root from cuttings quite easily. You can actually put a cutting in water, just water, and it would root pretty much 100% of the time. I've done this before. Just trying to clean this thing up. Where I had a pretty thick cutting from actually work, and I just put it in water and the thing grew without any issues. So, you know, if I take out the higher plane of the roots, I'm sure it was going to grow later. Like this one here, there's 2 different levels, 2 different planes. I'm going to take out the bottom one because the top, well, I could take off the top actually. They both work, so I'm going to get rid of the top because it's only on one side at the top. And it's more radial at the bottom, even though it's not perfect. This one here, again, has 2 different planes. And again, at the top plane, there's, well, I guess there's multiple. There's the main root on the left, on my left, and there's a few on the other side. But I think I'll still take the bottom because the bottom seems a bit better. Okay, that's more or less sorted. The last one, there's 1 high root up here. Get rid of that. There's apparently another one back here. So I'm removing all the higher ups. I think the bottom is okay. Okay, so that looks okay to me for now, at least. I mean, these obviously have a long way to go. And I think in the forest, the roots isn't the main feature. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, that's the way that I get so far from bonsai. Okay, so I've got these pruned roots. I'll plant them first, and then I'll prune them if I need to. I got my pot prepared with the drainage screens, so I'll just give it a base layer of soil for now. And my soil is made out of, I don't know, it's a mix of everything that I had, which has pumice, it has a little bit of pine bark, it has turfus, some zeolite, and some basalt. There's even some crushed granite in it. It's just kind of random right now. I was fortunate enough to not have any issues with the soil that I made for myself with the the materials, and the more I do bonsai, the more I realize that the soil, while is one of the most talked about things about bonsai, but really if you just have what you need, the something to retain water, something to make sure there's enough space, and as long as your bases are there, it works. Like, it just works. I haven't had any trouble with any kind of soil that I have that I've tried. So now I just mix everything together. It's just easier to do things. Okay, let me see. Ow! Oh, that hurt. Yeah, even though this pot is much bigger, it doesn't look like there's that much more room, to be honest. But I think these need to be a bit higher, so I need more soil first. Wow, that prick of the needle was no joke. I think the height is okay. I am a little bit worried about if the trees are going to stay in there without moving. And there's not that much roots. I don't usually tie down my trees with wires, even though it's better to do it. It's just more stable. So I'm gonna have to bury them. Hopefully they work. So this would be my rightmost tree. I'll put it a little bit towards the back. Again, with the thorns, it's quite hard to grab onto the tree. So I'll have to bury it quite deep, or else it wouldn't stand here by itself. Okay, that's okay for now. So the second one, this one I'll put it a little more towards the front than the previous one. And the more I look at this, the more I think there may not be enough room for all the trees. But they were in a much smaller pot before, so I don't know how that's possible. So this will have to go around here. which is the most front tree. I think the trees are planted more or less in their positions. They're not very stable right now, but I do need to remove some of the rocks, put more soil on, and probably need to put the rocks back in just so until they kind of grasp the soil better. So we'll see if I can do that. Actually, this one seems to be holding up quite well. So that'll have to stay like that for now until it roots or until it grasps the soil better. And then I'll have this tree leaning towards me a bit more, which is what I think is the front. I want to kind of lean towards this way and a little bit to the right. So I think that's okay. Okay, so let me water this. I feel like once it has some water, it can grasp the soil better because it makes it heavier. Let me water this and let me clean up this workstation. I'll turn it around so you can see it from the front. Here's the tree from the front. I have arranged it so that I think it looks the best, or what I think is the best. I had to replace this rock with a bigger one because the biggest tree is not stable. So I had to put something heavy, or else it's gonna kind of wobble or fall easily. The arrangement, I think, looks okay. The only thing that I would change is maybe from the side view, the center is kind of empty, and then if you look at from the top of the whole thing, the center of the forest looks a little bit empty. Not much I can do about it now. I think maybe if I move this over a bit towards that side to kind of fill in that space a little, it would be better. But I'm not going to do that now. Maybe in the next iteration, I can work on that. So I do think I need to prune this a little bit because I think that side's a little heavy, and maybe I can reduce the height of the back. I think the back is also a little high. So that's what I'll work on next. All right, so I think I'll start by taking this off because I think this side is a little too tall, or at least taller than what I would like. And there's a main branch here that's the tallest. Actually, from this spot, there's the main trunk, and then there's two branches opposite each other coming out on both sides. I'm just going to remove the tip, or the main trunk here, so that I can use these side branches that are coming from it. This is actually very easy to cut. I would love to clean up the cut a little better, but because I just planted it, so it's not the most stable thing in the world, which is why I think I'm going to leave it for now. I think eventually this branch will need to be taken back as well. Actually, I'll do that right now. Just gonna take off that tip. So I think that's okay for that side. I'll let it grow and see where it goes. Well, yeah, the front here is a little short, but you know, I don't know. I like the look of it. It's not so bad. But the back I do think is a bit tall, especially compared to the front. So I'm going to reduce the back a bit, just so it's not competing with the front tree there. So for this one, I'm going to take it back here. There's a small branch coming out on this side, and I'll just take it right after it, if I could. All these thorns are making trouble for me to prune this off. So yeah, this one I'll just reduce back a bit. So now there's no competition for the largest one. Maybe this one needs to be taken back a little. I think that one in the back there can be reduced. Yes. There's two branches again, main trunk and then opposite branches. I'll just take it back, taking the main trunk off and let it branch, or you know, use the branch that's already there. Okay, so the main tree here, I think it's a little bit too tall. Or I can reduce, actually I should reduce both of these back a little bit. There's branching here, so let me get on the other side. Yes, I'm going to take it back around this area. And then this, there's actually quite a few branches up the near the apex there. So I'm just gonna take the tip off. There's, you know, I'm not really aiming for any of the branching that came out of it. I'm just taking it back just to make it smaller, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe more reduction over here. So I think that's okay for now. Yeah, I'll have to let it grow a bit more. Hopefully it'll stabilize itself in the pot, and then I could do more pruning later on. You know, right now I think this seems a little high, right? So probably, you know, I'll try to reduce this a bit more. Around there, maybe a little bit lower. Okay, I think that's okay. And the rest, I'll let it fill in. There's a branch coming out of the main tree here. I think if that comes in, it can fill a space there. That would be nice. But, you know, these are just cuttings and pruning. You know, hasn't rooted that long ago. Actually, this gives me enough opportunity to prune this tree a bit better. I'll just clean up the stuff that I had before. Okay, so yeah, I think the forest is looking okay. You know, maybe next time when I repot this, I can probably turn this a little bit so the two trunks separate a little bit. There's more separation, but it's okay, I think. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to do with this Crown of Thorns forest. Hopefully it's going to take the repot well, which I'm not expecting any trouble with this because of the nature of the tree. You know, it roots really easily from cutting. So, you know, when you're root pruning, it's usually not a problem. Okay, yeah, I'm quite happy with this for now. It's in a bigger pot, takes up more room, but it's, you know, I have to do this eventually. I think now is a good time in the winter. You know, in the summer, there's all kinds of deciduous trees that I have to work on. I think this is a good time to work on tropical trees in the winter in a very stable environment at home. So that's it for this. I'm going to show you what's going on in the garage. The winter jasmine is flowering for some reason. It's been in the garage, but I'll show you that. Here we are in the garage, and this is what I'm talking about. This is the winter jasmine, and it's producing flowers in the garage. I thought this was dormant, you know, 100%, but it's obviously not. I did read up on this, and they were saying that this flowers in January. Now, I'm pretty sure that's January somewhere else, not southern Ontario, because in January it would be minus 10 degrees. If this was outside, I'm fairly sure it's not going to flower. But in the garage, where it's more like, I don't know, anywhere in between 5 and 10 degrees, so it's flowering quite nice at this time of the year. I guess it's not dormant, and I don't know when it's going to go dormant because the garage, maybe it's not cold enough, I don't know. But yeah, so that's the update on the winter jasmine. It's quite a surprise. Everything here is doing okay. I've been watering these so that it stays wet, or not wet, but, you know, moist. You know, I moved all this stuff in, the Japanese maples, most of these in. These are the seedlings that I put here. I don't know what's going on with that, but I can't leave these outside because I saw a squirrel trying to dig up something here, so I took that inside, and it's going to stay here for the rest of the winter. Looking at the seedlings of Japanese maples, the leaves are started going dry, so I can just rip them off, you know, like that. So that's good. You know, and I can see there's tons of these seedlings everywhere. They're so close, that's why they're not growing so much. But other than that, the Japanese maples cuttings, where I did a tourniquet in the summer, and then I took the cuttings in November, late November. I've been watering these almost every day because it's pure pumice, so it doesn't stay wet for that long. And then this is on a heat mat, which feels, I can only describe as barely warm, not too hot. I thought this would be warmer or hot, you know, but it's just not there. I don't know how they're doing because I just can't see any signs of anything. You know, I don't want to move them because if they're rooting, I don't want to disturb that. But it's been sitting on the heat mat ever since, and I guess we'll find out, you know, either later in the winter or maybe in the spring if anything happens to them. I really do hope they can root, but I have not had any success trying to root cuttings for Japanese maples. So that's all the update for today. Everything I have so far is good. I still have stuff outside that is winter hardy, so I didn't touch those yet. I'll take them in, you know, probably later on when it gets really cold. So thanks for watching, guys, and you know, this is it for today, so I'll see you next time.